Hello there, Commonwealth from here. Pokémon is a franchise that has rarely taken big risks with its formula. Quite contrary, making their games far simpler over the last decade, and it has paid off with the best-selling gaming franchise, excluding Mario, which had a 10-year head start, and far more spin-offs. However, in a year filled with brand new games, but almost exclusively sequels, including Zelda, Legends Arceus is something fresh and new. A prequel story set in a different Sinnoh, Hisui, during the Imperial Meiji Restoration in the late 1800s. Needless to say, it is a big change for the Pokémon franchise with its wooden and steam-powered Pokeballs, lack of big urban settlements, and for the most part, regular Pokémon trainers and so much more. Oh, and it might be the most important Switch game in 2022. So be sure to press that like button as we're going for 2,500 for the 25th anniversary of Pokémon, and subscribe since we're less than 10,000 away from 300,000 subscribers and our big Switch OLED with game giveaway. Pokémon Legends Arceus is meant to be a wild Pokémon experience set in a time and region at the verge of great change due to industrialization and new settlers who will expand Jubilife Village into a town and eventually city, and urbanize much of the island at the expense of the Pokémon that lived there. It is the first Pokémon story where we see what was lost as a result of human activity, and explains perfectly why we got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl so close to Pokémon Legends Arceus. Game Freak wants us to see the contrasts and an island in the process of being colonized by outsiders, Pokémon versus humans, nature versus technology, which can clearly be seen with the steam-powered wooden Pokeballs. Despite its historic setting, the industrial and imperial setting is just a visual backdrop for the most open Pokémon adventure with a massive gameplay evolution in Legends Arceus, a gaming experience that features starters from multiple generations, which is deliberately targeted by the Pokémon Company to reach an even bigger player and consumer base than ever before, specifically taking advantage of the Japanese exclusive handheld market where Nintendo is king with Pokémon and the multiple physical stores. At the same time, Legends Arceus is also a love letter to Breath the Wild fans and its varied ways of traversal and other open space adventures, with far more dynamic trainer gameplay outside of battle screens. A true exploration title with base camps, flying and gliding thanks to Hisui and Bravery, riding on Virdia, water traversing on Basco Legion, the leaked but still unrevealed climbing of steep surfaces thanks to a different Pokémon, and no random encounters for the first time in a mainline Pokémon game. After all, why would they ruin the immersion with that, as this is a game where the entire adventure grants you full dual analog camera controls, and with it, far more focus on the male and female playable trainers, Akari and Rei. Which also explains the many clothing and hair customization options that this title has brought over from the last 3 generations of mainline Pokémon titles, and the many character and Pokémon connections to Gen 4 Pokémon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, including ancestors of key characters from that game, which we'll find within Team Galaxy, the Ginkgo Trade Guild, and the Diamond and Pearl clans, led by Adaman and Irida. The funniest being that the ancestor of Team Galactic's leader Cyrus is Captain Celine, the female leader of the Galaxy Team's Server Corps, while Sinnoh's champion Cynthia's ancestor being the male guild merchant Volo, who works for Ginter, the leader of the guild. Overall, a far deeper Pokémon experience where the aim is to seek out, observe, weaken, and then catch all kinds of Pokémon, including agile and strong style, blessed and noble Pokémon, often tied to wardens, all to create a Hisuian Pokédex and much more. We're not exaggerating when we're saying that this is a love letter from the Pokémon Company and Game Freak to everyone, since for once, they have actually not rushed an experience like this for November, but instead taken their time until the end of January to deliver what will hopefully be a next level Pokémon experience, despite some graphical hiccups here and there. One that will bring the entire world together for the single-player adventure that includes, as previously mentioned, many connections to the Gen 4 Sinnoh. A simpler Pokémon experience, but in a familiar setting which combines 3 franchises together into one brand new experience. Monster Hunter mission-based hunting system starting from a main settlement, combat and evading gameplay, which all Switch fans are now well aware of thanks to Monster Hunter Rise, one of the best Switch games in 2021. Obviously, Breath the Wild with its sense of discovery, grand open landscapes, and numerous ways to traverse the natural obstacles found on the map. Finally, you have the Pokémon formula, like Game Freak with combinations of the mechanics introduced in Gen 7 Alola and Gen 8 Gala. All combinations that tie very closely to exactly what you need to appeal to 100 million Nintendo Switch owners. Meaning that with the Japanese setting, dynamic and seamless way of catching and interacting with Pokémon, and a mission-based system where you gradually open this massive map, you have everything you need in order to reach your big sales goal: 30 million copies sold of a single Pokémon title. A challenge for sure, as only 2 Switch titles have crossed that barrier so far: Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Animal Crossing New Horizons. Another complicating factor is that Game Freak has this time only one version of the game, which still is a part of Gen 8 Gala of Pokémon, and not the Gen 9 title with a brand new region, which is likely to come out in November 2023 or 2024. Though technically it delivers a newly named region, namely Hisui, but in reality it is just a precursor of the Sinnoh we recently revisited in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Nevertheless, it is clear that the Pokémon Company noticed how Zelda went from sales below 10 million copies of the most popular games to over 25 million with Breath of the Wild, and especially increasing their sales in the Western markets. Thus, Legends Arceus can in many ways be said to be a product of Breath of the Wild's gigantic success and gameplay leaps. A game that wants to greatly expand its Western player base, as it is really hard to gain more Japanese players than Pokémon already has there. And this is a paradox, since Pokémon has lost some of its appeal in the West, while Breath of the Wild struggles in Japan. You see, despite its clearly traditional Japanese-inspired Sheikah sections, the 19th Zelda game is not even among the 10 best-selling Switch games in the land of the rising sun, surpassed by March 2021 even by Pokémon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which came out nearly 2 years after Breath of the Wild in November 2018. In other words, you probably realize now the importance of Pokémon Legends Arceus for the Pokémon Company and Nintendo, as Pokémon Sword and Shield is the 3rd best-selling Switch title in Japan, only beaten by Animal Crossing New Horizons and Super Smash Bros. Special, the Japanese title of Ultimate. Surprisingly as well, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is even surpassed by Splatoon 2 in Japan, which shows how important Pokémon Legends Arceus and Splatoon 3 is for Nintendo to maintain their complete dominance over the gaming industry in their home country. However, in contrast to Splatoon 3, Legends Arceus is both appealing to a massive Japanese Pokémon-centered turn-based market and open space and full dual analog control action Western market. In other words, for Nintendo, this is the most important game in terms of sales in 2022, as Legends Arceus with its worldwide Friday, January 28 launch has nearly a full year of sales from January to December, and most likely 10 months of dominance before the 20th Zelda game joins the party in say November, thus filling out the traditional Pokémon slot. And though it seems that this time there will be no delays, 2022 is still long, and thus it is not 100% certain if we'll get Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel in 2022. I really don't need to mention that Pokémon Legends Arceus also feels a role in this let's hope not happening scenario where Zelda could be pushed to early 2023. As a massive holiday seller, though in Japan, it is likely that Legends Arceus will no matter what outsell the Breath of the Wild sequel, based on what we have seen of the sales numbers of Pokémon vs Zelda in that country, where all mainline Pokémon titles, remakes or new, are in the top 15, while the best-selling Zelda is barely in the top 15 after it was surpassed by Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and its 1.9 million sales in record time. On top of that, it is worth mentioning that the best-selling Zelda Remake Remaster is not even in the top 30 best-selling games in Japan. Let's face it, Pokémon is far more popular in Japan than Zelda, and with its far more frequent output of games overall worldwide than Zelda, which has not seen a new release since the release of the Switch in 2017. And it shows that even excellence is not required, as although it has been criticized by many and nowhere near as excellent as Zelda, Pokémon Sword and Shield is near the sales of Breath of the Wild on the Switch despite launching nearly 3 years after, and that says it all about the power of Pokémon. Now it is clear that the Pokémon Company with Legends Arceus is not only aiming to surpass the sales of Breath of the Wild, but likely also secure a spot on the podium of best-selling Switch games. And with the popularity of Pokémon worldwide, but especially in Japan, it is clear that the aim is to stay there, as it will be really hard for Breath of the Wild sequel to surpass 30 million copies sold worldwide. Though we saw the Breath of the Wild effect, and if the Sky and Underground brings another gameplay revolution, then who knows, maybe we could see a solid battle between Legends Arceus and Breath of the Wild 2 when it comes to sales from 2023. The sales in 2022 with over 100 million Switches out on the market will no doubt be won by Legends Arceus, which most likely has a 10-month head start on Zelda if it releases the same year. Personally, I think Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel will be the better game with a definitely higher Metacritic score, but when it comes to sales, I can see why Pokémon Legends Arceus is the first and most important Switch release for Nintendo in 2022. In Japan, it isn't even close, unless Splatoon 3 and Breath of the Wild sequel can pull a sales miracle. But what do you think? Is Pokémon Legends Arceus the most important Switch game in 2022 worldwide, or just in Japan, as Breath of the Wild 2 will crush any competition when it comes to Western sales in 2022? sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, be sure to press that like button, as we're aiming for 2,500 likes for the still ongoing 25th anniversary of Pokémon on this video, and which Pokémon Legends Arceus is a part of. The same goes with subscribing and pressing that notification bell to not miss any of our Pokémon Legends Arceus videos, and it helps us greatly towards 300,000 subscribers. Less than 10,000 remaining to that milestone, and our big Nintendo Switch OLED with Pokémon Legends Arceus or winner's game of choice giveaway. Last but not least, a great thanks to all our patreon.com/CommonRealm patrons, and in particular to royal producer Charles Shash for their financial support. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.